Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Decentralized Chain is for Oz, bringing you the latest news, reviews, and blockchain tech. If this is your first time here and you want to learn more about upcoming ICOs and crypto stuff in general, then start now by subscribing and clicking the bell icon below so you don't miss anything. Now, in today's episode, we are going to be having an interview with Eric Lifson, who is the CMO for Skrumble Network, and really he's just going to give us an update in terms of where Skrumble is now. If you missed my review, then check out the link above and you can see exactly what Skrumble is all about. But anyway, let's jump in and see what Eric has to say about Skrumble. Hey Eric, welcome back to the show. Great to have you here. It was an amazing project, did really well in terms of just everything, really, execution on the exchanges, and I was really impressed to see what was going on. But I think going forward, I'd love to hear about what Skrumble has to offer. But before you do that, and maybe some people might be finding us for the first time, so if you haven't, feel free to subscribe to the channel. But Eric, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Who are you? What is Skrumble? What is it that you guys are trying to solve? Just give us the elevator pitch.
Sure. So my name is Eric Lifson. I'm co-founder of Skrumble Network. I'm a marketing guy. And, I think that we see a really interesting sea change right now in the world. Blockchain, as you know, is kind of a big deal. And 10% of the global GDP will be on blockchain by 2027, according to Deloitte. So we're getting into this new decentralized world. And the only issue with that is that people don't trust each other. And the reason why people don't trust each other is because there's a lot of scammers and there's a lot of things to manipulate in this crypto world. And what we're seeing is that we need a place to contact and contract and have everything on the blockchain and have a very clear way of engaging and interacting with people that's trustworthy, right? And the old way of doing things, as they say in China, is like Guangxi culture, which is basically we couldn't do something together unless we went out for dinner and lunch and have like 5 glasses of beer or baijiu, whatever, and talk about each other's families and blah blah blah. And okay, finally we can talk about business or do something. That we're seeing crypto in general becoming like a bit of a cottage industry, right? Mm-hmm. This person can do smart contracts for you. This person can do a website. This person can do PR, whatever, okay? And so we see an opportunity where, big or small, we need to be able to trust each other and contact and contract, because you can't just say, hey, give me your Ether address and I'm going to send you $1 million. It just doesn't work like that. I mean, if you want to, you can.
I'd take it if you'd offered it to me.
Yeah. But it just didn't work like that. So we created this public chain, which is Skrumble Network. After all this like crazy stuff going on with Facebook, you heard, and Telegram being banned and all these things, we've created really the future of communication, because what it is it's our public chain, and we make it easy to contact and contract. So that means that we provide the tools so that you can communicate with people. Everything is on the blockchain, and stuff can't be blocked by firewalls. So it's global. You actually own your own data, which is crazy. So stuff like that, where there's no centralized body like Facebook or whatnot that controls or sells your data. So we have our first DApp actually is launching today, which is pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So exclusive interview time right now.
Yep. You hear it first, right on Decentralized Chain. Right, that's right. Timestamp that.
Called Ally. And so Ally, our goal is to make the #1 DApp in the world. And we want to do that by end of September. So we have a very large community for Skrumble Network. Mm-hmm. Clearly free speech and communicating how you want, when you want is kind of a big deal. And of the 80,000 community members, we already have 70,000 that have pre-signed up for this beta from various places. So our goal is really to hit 100K users by end of September because we see a big change in the market. If 2017 or 2018 was about like infrastructure, cool, great, the TPS is high and all that cool stuff, it's good. But I think that the next major frontier is actual utility in tokens and real DApps that actually get used for things that you would normally do.
I couldn't agree more, actually, in terms of what you're saying there. You're right. 2017 was about infrastructure and how much you could push through, and I would say 2018 is somewhat still about that, because I don't think we're quite there yet. But what I'm yet to see actually is a decentralized application that is of significant use. Yeah, there's loads of DApps that have come out, and to be honest, a lot have not really been that successful. But to actually find a truly utilized decentralized application, I think that's quite key, and I think that's quite a game changer in terms of mass adoption and just seeing, hey, there's an app here and I'm using it. It's not just about there's an app here and I can push through so many TPS through it. It's building something of value, of use, and I think you've certainly hit the nail on the head in terms of the way the conversation's going at this moment.
Yeah, for sure. So Ally comes out today in beta, and first we're starting centralized, but when we go, our testnet is like doing quite well right now. We are hitting around 2,000 TPS, which is pretty exciting. And
but to be clear, you don't really need to go more than 2,000 TPS in terms of what you're doing as a platform, because it's not necessarily transacting on that type of level in terms of, and I think 2,000, because and the reason I try and say that is that some people just need to be very, when I say some people, I kind of mean those who are kind of getting into the blockchain space and kind of being sucked into the, you've got to be hitting that 5, 10, 15, 20,000, 100,000 TPS. But it really depends on the application that genuinely needs it. And you're not necessarily a payment system, so there's no need for that.
100% correct. Okay. That's right. We are doing, our architecture is POA. So for those who don't know what that means, that stands for proof of authority. And proof of authority, you might have heard of proof of staking. Plus KYC. So proof of staking, you need to put a certain amount of tokens, and then KYC is we know who you are so that we can trust you, and you're able to help run our network, right? And you're exactly right. We don't need 10 billion TPS to run. It's all of our authentication is done on the blockchain, and it creates a secret key, for example, for Ally. So the way Ally works is we create a secret key on the blockchain. And let's say you and me want to have a conversation. Only you and me have access to the code that gets us into that conversation. Now, in that conversation, it's truly peer-to-peer and encrypted with no centralized server. So, and this is where it becomes a game changer. So we can have voice, video, up to 50 people live, and in-app crypto payments, and mini smart contracts. That's coming soon. But guess what? You actually own your data, and there's no centralized server. So what that means is that so Skrumble Network, one of the people behind it is Skrumble, which is a communication technology company based out of Toronto, Canada, and they own 46 global patents. Now, one of those patents, for example, that's being licensed, many in blockchain and other cool stuff, one of those patents that's getting licensed to our foundation, which is Skrumble Network, is the ability to take data, replicate it, slice it up, and spread it out across the nodes. So let's say for whatever reason one of the nodes was compromised. You are only taking a little piece of that data, and so you would get a piece of it, you wouldn't be able to understand it. So it pretty much can't be hacked. It can't be blocked by firewalls because there's no centralized server. So people in Russia and China and all these countries that are scared about their data being, especially with the billions of dollars at stake in crypto, this is a pretty important time and a pretty important, era where data security and privacy is everything right now, especially in these kind of countries. And so, we're really seeing a huge demand for that now. And so the only way that you can concatenate the data, basically put that data back together, is by having that secret code that's created on the blockchain. So that's kind of the way that Ally works, and it's kind of like WeChat but on steroids.
In fact, so in terms of if we wanted to get access to the beta, is this something that we just need to go and join the Telegram? More details there. Go to the website.
Yeah, you definitely just join our Telegram group. You'll ask someone, they'll tell you where it is.
Okay.
A very lively group, so check it out. Or check out www.skrumble.network, and you'll see a lot of discussion on Ally. There's a separate website. You just go to that, and it'll take you there, and you just download the beta app on Android, and I think iOS is coming tomorrow. So
fantastic! So yeah, so this is hot off the press on decentralized chain. That's right.
The team is at the office right now, grinding away.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit more about your roadmap. I mean, how are you guys faring in comparison to when I reviewed you way back, a couple of months back? Where are we with the roadmap? Where is Skrumble heading? Where are we with the launches? This app, this beta app you're talking about today, is that in line with your roadmap in terms of what you had in mind before? Or
I mean, I'll be honest. The crazy thing about us is we're actually ahead of schedule.
Okay.
Which is crazy.
Steady on, Eric. Steady on.
I don't want to kill the team, but yeah, like we're ahead of schedule. It's pretty great, and what we have is actually our testnet is pretty vibrant. Like we said, we were going to do that like October, November. Mm-hmm. We're pretty much there, and we're going to probably launch that in September at this stage. And as I said, our goal, we've said, I said it already in this discussion, but honestly, I hate to say this, but there's really no killer DApps yet in crypto and in blockchain yet. There just isn't. And we're talking about critical mass and a lot of people using it for everyday life, not because of the blockchain technology per se, but because it leverages blockchain to do other things. And I think that that's really powerful. And right now, by our research, the #1 DApp right now is actually Steemit, and which is like a blogging platform, and they have 60,000 users. Now, our goal is to get over 100K users by September, and we're going to be doing a huge roadshow, 20-something countries, and a mega marketing campaign over the next 1 or 2 months. So you will know Skrumble Network. It will be in your face, and Ally as well. You will not be able to avoid it soon.
Well, if they're discovering the video for the first time, trust me, after the roadshow, they'll know.
Everyone will know it.
Okay.
So there's that, and really, it's about bringing on that user base, because, quite frankly, your infrastructure is infrastructure. Using the example of, let's say, Facebook, nobody cares about the servers or architecture. It's easy to use. I like it. And okay, there's some cool elements of blockchain. That's what it's about, right? So, that's kind of our approach and our philosophy. And someone said to me actually yesterday, it was pretty random. They said you should be called the chief simplifying officer or something. Just take something complicated and just make it really easy to understand. So I don't know. That's I guess what I do.
Look, if you can take something complicated and you can simplify it, I think you'll always get uptake and adoption. I mean, it's the same thing that I do in my sort of non-crypto world. It's all about simplifying the user experience and making it easy for people to just get on with it and do what they need to do within that space. Yeah. I mean, how about your team, Eric? What's changed since then in terms of the original sort of, when we look way back when? Have you increased the team in terms of expectation and anticipation of, clearly if you're going to be doing road shows across the world and you're bringing awareness to the program, to the platform, clearly that's going to bring a certain amount of demand as a side effect from it as well. So tell us a bit about the team. What's happening with the team in general?
That's a great question. So I just want to say, we have an absolutely world-class team. I don't think there's many projects that have a better team than we do, to be honest. And that comes from,
you're not being biased in any way, though, right?
Sorry?
I said you're not being biased in any way.
I mean, to be honest, I'm pretty objective. Like, we have, because I think, once again, the world is going to change, okay? Just having a blockchain developer in a basement and throwing together an ICO and saying, we'll figure it out later, those days are done, okay? We are looking at a new era and a new time when you need multidiscipline, right? For example, we have a 30-person development team, okay? We have 50. So when we originally chatted, I think we had about 30 people total on the team.
Yeah, which I thought was quite big at the time as well. That seemed like a very chunky sized team.
Yeah, exactly. And now we're getting, I think, around 50 or more full time. But in terms of we also have some volunteers around the world. So we did already a roadshow in the past of 15 cities, and like in our discussions and talking and meeting some of the people wanted to volunteer to help us run our community, which is pretty cool. So we have I don't know, 4 people in China, we have 1 person in Spain, we have 1 person in I don't know, all over the place. Yeah, I mean, so it's pretty cool. So anyways, bottom line is we have an incredible team. I'd say we have about, let's say, 7 or 8 people focused on marketing, plus volunteers, and we have a 30-person development team, and then a bunch of other stuff, like normal stuff. So thinking about the developers on our team, it's very well rounded. So we have 4 blockchain people. We have mobile app development, 8 people. We have front end and we have back end and networking and that kind of stuff, right? APIs, that kind of stuff. So, and then product management and QA, etc. So we have the whole kind of mini ecosystem, if you will. And what we're doing is we're bringing on something very exciting coming up called Skrumble Labs. Skrumble Labs is going to be an incubator, an ecosystem that's built on Skrumble Network using the SKM token. So we actually already have 30 different groups and projects that have applied to be on this as part of this Skrumble Labs. It's still early days right now, but there's really a lot of excitement about leveraging this unique technology, because if you're doing really anything, having a communication or a media or anything like that, those opportunities is really important. So it's pretty exciting.
That's pretty nice and pretty. So I mean, I've always kind of questioned around it, sort of incubation, but this is kind of looking at, let's just say that I wanted to create a DApp that utilizes Skrumble Network, then there is a potential to reach out to yourself and the team to kind of, if the project has legs and you kind of see a good real world use case behind it, then there's support and maybe a foundation to kind of help me progress and ultimately get over the hurdles that you guys have been through over the last few months, as well as prior to that, in terms of your conception and your idea becoming more of a realization. So that's kind of where we're heading towards when you say incubation, right?
100%. And using the community too, right?
That's pretty impressive.
And the cool is they're from a wide range. It's not like they're just communication apps, right? So we have a logistics, we have supply chain, we have esports and gaming and stuff like that, and we'll see some very creative and cool DApps that come out from this. Once again, we don't care about, obviously our TPS is good. We don't care about pure infrastructure plays that are only aimed at developers. Okay, and I say that I say that it's about a philosophical thing, right? Actually, Vitalik came out a couple of days ago, co-founder of Ethereum, obviously. Yeah. And he said, and he's from Toronto, which is cool. Waterloo. He said a really interesting thing on the other day on Twitter, which is we're so focused right now in crypto. It's all about the ETF and Bitcoin and and it's a whole financial thing. It's guys, let's talk about real world adoption. Before we start getting crazy with speculation. Let's actually bring this to millions and millions of people. Yeah. That's what it's about. And we believe that Skrumble Network will give people the tools and the ability whether it being using our Keystone Ally application or building your own DApp on our chain and giving all the tools to create a killer DApp.
So, I mean, I suppose moving on from what you've just said there and bringing in adoption and all of those pieces, which is all well and good, what sort of partnerships, what sort of additional advisors have you brought on to kind of spread the word and the gospel of Skrumble Network, but at the same time partnering to kind of bring it out to the masses and adoption? Has there been any changes since we last spoke?
Well, I can't remember exactly when we spoke, but we have a pretty stacked advisory team, one of the top in crypto.
Okay.
So we have Anthony Diorio, who co-founded Ethereum.
Yep.
A little project called Ethereum.
Yeah. It is really small. It's really, no one cares about it. 13 transactions per second. Who's counting, right?
He also founded Jax and Decentral.
Yeah.
We also have Jeff Pulver, who co-founded Vonage, I think the largest internet communication company ever.
That was one thing that really drew me to Skrumble Network initially, because Vonage is a huge communications network, and one of the things that I always look for in a project, certainly in the advisors and the partnerships that they have, is is there a link, or is there a way to then take what you're developing as a platform and being able to link it into something that's already commercially available within the real world, and having a partnership in place to try and really spread that and help that ultimately integrate in. So I thought that was really, really huge. And plus, I hear the Vonage advert all the time on my radio.
He's a very bullish guy on our project, and we're actually meeting with him next week to go over how we can do that, which is pretty exciting. So he's coming into the office next week. So there's Jeff Pulver. We have CTO of Aeon, his name is Genius. I can't remember if this is new or not, but we've added the co-founder of Fusion. So that's pretty cool. And we also have a professor from University of Toronto who's head of blockchain and fintech.
Okay.
So we've got a pretty stacked advisory board already, and all pretty big advocates of what we're doing. And since last we spoke, I can't remember if I mentioned this to you, but we have 15 top global VCs behind the project.
Okay. No, I wasn't aware. I don't think we spoke about them in detail.
Okay. And so it's really kind of a who's who of some of the top players, especially out of Asia. We have Block VC, we have LD Capital, we have the head of Draper Dragon, which was Tim Draper's fund. We have what's it called? We have Wolf Crypto out of Australia, who's great. We did I think one group called Carnaby Capital, actually out of the UK. A couple of groups out of Toronto. You name it, they're part of it. So it's a pretty good, I forget everyone, but yes, there's
they're gonna be calling you up to say, hey man, where was my mention?
Cinco from Korea. They do actually say you should mention it. UB Capital out of Silicon Valley. Okay, those are the ones I have to mention. You get the idea. Yeah. So a lot of good stuff, and we have some really great partners. I mean, one of our guys, LD, this guy has 10 million followers on WeChat.
Wow!
And they pay money to be followers of him. So we're going to tap into some very exciting communities and networks over the next few months as we scale and get a ton of users.
And I'll be staying tuned, no doubt to that, definitely. What can we expect in terms of the short term? What's coming up that needs to be on our radar? What should we be watching out for Skrumble?
The #1 DApp in the world, man. That's what it's about.
And the roadshow. You got dates ready for the roadshow?
Yes. So #1 DApp in the world. Our goal is to do that by end of September. Okay, 100K plus users. That's like our magic number.
Yeah. Okay.
And the roadshow. So we are going all out for this roadshow. So we have two teams. Like we split the alpha team and the beta team.
Yeah.
And the Alpha team is going to Asia and going to China, Vietnam, Hong Kong, Korea,
Wow.
Japan, and I think Malaysia. So yeah, we're going big there. That's Alpha team, okay, and that's next week.
Oh wow. Okay, that's around the corner.
Yes, the Beta team is going to mostly Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So
you best be saying London the first word that comes out of your mouth if you're going to say Europe now.
We will definitely be going to London.
That's better. Then you can mention the rest now.
So 100% we're going to be going there. We're going to go to Eastern Europe. We're going to go to Estonia, a few of these like crypto places, Netherlands, etc. Right? And we have a good following in Spain as well. So we'll be doing some stuff in Spain. So yeah, like we're between both groups, I would say we probably will be at least 20 countries over the next 1 month.
That's a lot of travel and a lot of air miles. I'll give you my membership number if you guys want to just
air
miles to mine this anytime, you know. Just a little thank you.
And you should see our itinerary. It's insane.
Wow.
We literally, I mean, if you look for example, for the 2 weeks we're spending in China, for example, we're speaking every day to like 300 or 500 people a day, and doing like testing events and doing like live. You know, we're gonna do something where if you download the app, you're gonna get some SKM tokens.
Okay.
In our built-in wallet, which, by the way, we're ahead of schedule. We were supposed to do that in November. Guess what? It's ready today.
There you go. It doesn't surprise me, Eric. It doesn't surprise me after talking to you. Wow. So that is completely jam-packed in terms of what's to come. And when's your mainnet coming out? When's your mainnet? You guys are ahead of schedule, but when did you say your mainnet was going to be coming out?
We said it was going to be like March 2019.
Okay. You still standing
I don't
by
want to overpromise, but we probably will be getting it done like by end of this year.
Okay.
I don't want to say a specific time. Like
completely November, understand. We'll catch up at the end of this year and play this video back and have a little catch up and see where you are. Well,
yeah,
Eric,
exactly.
As always, thank you so much for your time, your effort, being on the show. I appreciate it. And it's it's good to see that you guys are clearly moving miles ahead in terms of delivery, roadmap, and just your general outlook in terms of, and certainly your roadmap. So really roadmap, I meant to say road show. So that's really looking forward to that. And obviously when you guys are down in London, I'll definitely come down and see wherever you guys are. I'm just on the outskirts of London, so that's not an issue for me.
Amazing.
But Eric, thank you very much as always. Let's catch up after your roadshow and see how you guys are doing.
Thank you so much.
Cheers. Speak to you later, man.
Thanks, man.